Hello, internet wanderers, keyboard warriors, and lovers of digital drama. Welcome back to another riveting installment of Tales of the Subreddit, a show where we dive headfirst into the wild, weird, and occasionally wholesome corners of Reddit. Today's episode is brought to you by popcorn, because trust me, you're gonna need it. We're cracking open the vault of one of Reddit's most iconic and emotionally charged communities, r/AmItheAsshole. That's right, we're sifting through the moral dilemmas, petty squabbles, and jaw-dropping confessions that make you question everything you thought you knew about basic human decency. From birthday party betrayals to roommate revenge plots and in-law invasions, that would make a soap opera blush. We're here to unpack the chaos, pass judgment respectfully, and maybe, just maybe, learn a little something about ourselves along the way. So buckle up, grab your emotional support beverage, and prepare to ask the eternal question, was I really the jerk, or was I just misunderstood? Let's get into it. Alright folks, buckle up. Up first comes straight from the battlefield of suburban baked goods. We've got HOA drama, Costco deception, and one woman's quest to frost her way into neighborhood glory. This is Cupcake Sabotage, the HOA bake-off nobody asked for. So I, 32 female, live in a suburban neighborhood with an HOA that takes itself way too seriously. Our HOA president, Linda, 60s, retired, power hungry, has made it her life's mission to enforce rules that no one asked for. She once fined my neighbor $50 because his garden gnome was too whimsical. Anyway, last month, Linda sent out a newsletter reminding us that store-bought baked goods are not acceptable for community events, and that homemade items reflect our values. I found this hilarious because Linda's idea of baking is microwaving a mug cake and calling it rustic. So for the next HOA potluck, I brought a tray of cupcakes. But here's the thing, I bought them from Costco, scraped off the frosting, and repiped it with a little swirl to make them look homemade. I even added a sprinkle of cinnamon for flair. People loved them. Linda complimented me and said, now this is what we mean by community spirit. I smiled and said thanks. I used a very exclusive recipe. She asked for it. I said it was a family secret passed down from my great aunt who used to bake for the Queen of Luxembourg. I made that up. I don't even know if Luxembourg has a queen. Fast forward a week, Linda sends out another newsletter praising my culinary contributions and encouraging others to follow my example. So I doubled down. For the next event, I brought artisan lemon bars, which were literally just boxed, mixed with powdered sugar and a sprig of mint. Again, rave reviews. Then things escalated. Linda started baking her own stuff to compete. Her cookies were ambitious. One batch tasted like drywall. Another had raisins and olives. She said it was a Mediterranean fusion. I said it was bold. She took that as encouragement. Eventually, she cornered me and asked if I'd be interested in co-hosting a neighborhood baking workshop. I panicked and said I was taking a sabbatical from flour. She looked devastated. Then someone snitched. Apparently, my neighbor saw me tossing empty Costco containers in the recycling bin and told Linda. She showed up at my door with a printout of the HOA bylaws and a passive-aggressive smile that could curdle milk. I admitted the truth. She said I'd undermined the integrity of our gatherings. I said I'd just been trying to bring joy. She said I'd brought deception. I said, well, at least my lemon bars didn't taste like regret. Now she's threatening to ban me from future potlucks unless I submit my recipes for verification. I told her I'd rather be exiled than audited. So, am I the asshole for starting a petty bake war with my HOA president using stealth cupcakes and lies? And there you have it, mystery cupcakes that appeared like sugary ninjas, lemon bars straight from the cardboard vault, and an HOA president who treated potlucks like battleground diplomacy. Was our culinary crusader a misunderstood vigilante of baked goods, or simply a chaotic neutral wielding a whisk with reckless abandon? Drop your verdict in the comments below. We're dying to know which side of the spatula you're on. Alright folks, if you thought the cupcake sabotage was petty, buckle up for round 2. This time, we're diving into a workplace drama featuring spicy juice, emotional boundaries, and a coworker who just couldn't keep her straw to herself. This is Emotional Support Juice, the citrus conflict nobody saw coming. So I, 29 female, bring the same juice to work every single day. Not just any juice, this is handcrafted, borderline spiritual elixir of mango, pineapple, cayenne, and a splash of lime. It's not just a drink, it's a lifestyle. a mood, a coping mechanism. I call it my emotional support juice because frankly, it's the only thing standing between me and a full-blown desk-flipping meltdown during budget meetings that feel like psychological warfare. I sip it slowly, deliberately, like I'm starring in a high-budget perfume commercial set in a tropical rainforest. My coworkers have seen me do this. They know the ritual. The juice lives in a sleek, matte black thermos with a gold label that reads, "Do not touch" in bold, judgmental font. It's not just a beverage. It's my peace, my personality, my tether to sanity in a sea of spreadsheets and passive-aggressive calendar invites. Last week, my coworker Brittany asked for a sip of my juice. I said no, politely, firmly, like a juice expert guarding the last bottle of a rare vintage. She laughed and said, "It's just juice, not a therapy dog," to which I replied, "Exactly, and you wouldn't pet someone else's therapy dog without permission, would you?" She rolled her eyes so hard I swear I heard them click. Later that day, I found a sticky note on my desk. It was pink. It was scented. It said, "Sharing is caring, even for citrus." I felt personally attacked. Then, as if summoned by the scent of drama, another coworker chimed in and asked if I'd consider bringing extra juice next time for the team. I blinked. I said, "This isn't a juice co-op. I'm not a beverage philanthropist." Now, somehow, half the office thinks I'm selfish. One guy who microwaves fish in the break room called me a juice goblin. Brittany, in her infinite flare of escalation, reported me to HR for creating division through beverage elitism. HR, bless their hearts, asked me to consider inclusive hydration practices, as if I'm running a discriminatory juice cartel. So here I am, ostracized, misunderstood, clutching my thermos like it's the last Horcrux. Am I the asshole for gatekeeping my emotional support juice, or am I just the main character in a workplace saga no one asked for? Was she just guarding her mango juice like it was the crown jewels, or did she turn snack time into drama time? One thing's for sure, Brittany's still salty, and nope, it's not the cayenne, it's the rejection. You be the judge, folks. Alright, if you've been following along, we've had cupcake sabotage and citrus warfare, but today's story dives deeper into the murky waters of roommate drama, fake fish, and one very questionable definition of Zen. This is the aquarium incident, the petty splash heard round the apartment. So I, 28 male, live with my roommate Tyler. Tyler is intense. He's into energy flow and vibrational harmony, which is fine. Except he once rearranged our furniture based on a YouTube feng shui tutorial narrated by a guy wearing a wizard hat. Anyway, Tyler recently got a small aquarium and put it in the living room. He said it was for ambiance and spiritual balance. The problem? The filter was loud, the water smelled weird, and the fish, named Chad and spiritual Greg, stared at me like they knew my secrets. I asked if we could move it to his room. He said no, because the fish need to absorb communal energy. I said, "They're absorbing my will to live." So one weekend while Tyler was at a silent retreat, yes really, I swapped the real aquarium with a fake one I found online. It had LED lights, plastic plants, and two very convincing rubber fish. I even added a tiny bubbling sound machine to sell the illusion. Tyler came back, stared at the tank for 5 minutes and said, "Wow, they've reached a new level of stillness." I said, "They're very centered." This went on for 2 weeks. He meditated next to them. He played flute music for them. He told guests that Chad has transcended movement. I nodded solemnly. Then disaster struck. His mom visited, tapped the glass, and said, "Tyler, these fish are fake." He looked at me like I'd betrayed the sacred koi code. He said I'd violated the spiritual contract of our home. I said I'd violated nothing except my right to not smell fish water. Now he is demanding I pay for a new aquarium and attend a restorative energy cycle. I told him I'd rather be haunted by spiritual Greg than sit in a circle with Tyler and his flute. So am I the asshole for replacing my roommate's aquarium with a fake one to preserve my sanity? And there you have it. One man, two rubber fish, and a roommate who thinks sitting still turns you into Buddha. Was he just defending his nostrils from the oded aquarium? Or did he dive headfirst into a sea of deception? Either way, this fish tale's got more drama than a goldfish in a blender. Cast your votes. Is this a splash of justice or a whiff of betrayal? And there you have it, an emotional roller coaster of petty drama, questionable choices, and enough moral confusion to power a philosophy class. From juice feuds to fishy roommates, we've seen it all. Heroes, villains, and a whole lot of wait, what moment? So now it's your turn, internet jury. Who's the saint? Who's the menace? And who just needs a nap? Drop your verdicts in the comments, smash that like button if you survive the chaos, and subscribe for more stories that'll make you say, I cannot believe they posted that. Until next time, stay hydrated, stay humble, and maybe double check before you borrow someone's juice.